Hey guys. Okay, so I was asked to do this video, uh, basically how to get started when it comes to content creation. And I have a few tips. I'm not a professional. I'm going to tell you how I got started, I guess. So, step one, stop waiting for the perfect conditions because you're not always going to have the perfect lighting. Your nails aren't always going to be done. Your, I don't know, your wall might be dirty. But stop waiting for the perfect conditions because if you keep waiting for the perfect conditions, it's never going to get done. Rule number two, you kind of just have to get over yourself, which I know is tough because it is embarrassing talking on camera and using your voice and having something to say. We're all gonna die, okay? Which is the amazing thing about life in the end, is we're all going to die. The truth is, you're not going to do the things that you want to do unless you, A, get very comfortable with embarrassing yourself. I actually read something today that basically said that the cost of success is embarrassment. You have to be willing to fail in front of people over and over and over and over again to actually get to the thing that you want. Okay, rule number three, and this ties to the one that I just mentioned, but you kind of have to accept who you are. If you want to do anything and if you want to, create content, you have to understand that there's a specific niche that you could fill. You might not be, I don't know, a lifestyle influencer. You might not be a beauty influencer. You might not be a travel influencer, but there's something that you have that other people don't. And once you start to realize that, you can start to understand what niche that you want to fill. If you don't have, whatever it is you feel like you don't have in order to start creating content, find the things that you do. If you have a voice, if you have, if you play piano, if you are really good at art, once you've understood your niche, that also kind of means that you understand what your strengths are and what you could bring to, the type of content that you create. In my case, I always knew that, during, when I was still, in junior school, when I was still very young and I was, a kid, I always really used to love presentations at school, like oral presentations. And I was always really good at them. And I always used to do the most with them. Like I would have props and I would, act everything out and everything was super dramatic. And so once I kind of understood that that was a strength of mine and I knew how to communicate, it becomes easier to understand what type of niche you could fill. If we are on the topic of self-acceptance, and I'm going to provide a personal anecdote, but my parents grew up in apartheid South Africa. And for those of you that don't know what that is, you can, have a read through, do some research. The thing is that when you have parents who grew up during apartheid, so let's take my story for example, there's this level of self-acceptance that you learn when your parents have lived through that type of experience. Decided to send me to private school where predominantly people just didn't look like me, if we're being quite frank. Me personally, I was bullied in high school for the fact that I grew up with colored parents and that I had a colored background. And for those of you that don't understand the concept of colored in South African terms, you can search it. But for me, I knew that can't believe I'm saying this on camera. History, my heritage, like, I don't like saying like, but my history and my heritage, it makes me who I am. And this is so like, this is really cringy. But it makes me who I am. In the same way that you probably have things that make you who you are. Once you kind of accept the fact that that's what actually makes you who you are and what makes you so different and unique and what makes you have something different to put out in the world, like, there's just so much power in reclaiming that. So you become so much more English. You become so much more comfortable with yourself to do the things that you kind of feel like you can do. Okay, number 4, and this one's a biggie because it takes time to really develop, and it also ties to the second one. And that is placing too much weight on what people think of you. If you want to get into content creation, you also have to understand that your Instagram is not for Jeff at work. Your Instagram is for you to create. It's for you. It's your creative outlet. And that really just is it. And if Jeff from accounting wants to unfollow you, then that's okay. He can unfollow you or he can follow it. It doesn't really matter because your platform is for you. Content creation as applying for a really great job that you want, for example. If Sarah tells you, you know what, I don't really think that you can be, I don't know, a corporate lawyer. Are you going to stop studying law and not become a corporate lawyer? And I feel like that's a very simple concept, but I think the idea is that if you allow people's opinions of you to have so much weight in your life that it stops you from living your life in a way that feels most fulfilling to you, then you are not living for you. And that's the moral of the story. I think that's probably my 4th advice, is that you cannot let people's opinions have so much weight in your life that it stops you from doing things that really tie into your strengths. So that's probably number 4. So that's my advice on how to get started with content creation. But I hope you guys liked it.